Good morning, GTS friends. I don't know about you, but I was thinking about this weekend and I went, we're not having a meeting this week and I need my GTS fix. So I put together a presentation anyway and decided to put it up on YouTube and send it out to you guys so that in case you were missing your GTS fix, you could go someplace and get a little pick-me-up. So today's presentation is about freedom. Freedom is very important because our whole life, one of our whole life purposes in this reality is freedom and getting to freedom. So we live our lives and as Henry David Thoreau would say, in quiet desperation in many cases. And what the purpose of all that is for us is to realize that even in this reality that's so physical, that appears to be so objective, that we make our way to freedom and joy. So today I'm going to talk about freedom and getting there. How do we get there? So there's two purposes for all that is with respect to us, and that's our magnificence and us at the peak of our physical condition. Our magnificence being at the peak of our physical condition so that we can take great joy and zest in this reality. Now, the next point is that we're at the center of the universe. Abraham says this all the time. We are the center of the universe. And in the dimension of all that is, that's easy. In the dimension of all that is, us being at the center of the universe is an easy construction. So, it turns out that in that dimension, every point is actually the center of the universe. Now, a couple weeks ago, I spoke about consciousness units. And the way it turns out is every particle of the universe is aligned in our direction. Every consciousness unit of the universe every particle is communicating telepathically with every other particle, focused on us individually and of superlatively good intent. Now, as you've heard me say many times, there's no time, there's no space. Reality is an illusion. And this is the heart and soul of freedom. Reality is just a series of pictures like a film going through a projector. The pictures are of the energy in framework 2, the energetic framework from which our reality, framework 1, is a projection. Since framework 1 is a series of pictures, there's no power in this reality whatsoever. Every time we're trying to change something here, we are lost in the illusion of quote-unquote objective reality. In other words, since we can knock on it, you can hear me knocking on the wood, since we can knock on it, it feels physical. It feels objective, it feels apart from us. And that's the illusion because it's not apart from us. Everything is a part of us. Everything is our creation. That means everything is subjective. Nothing is objective. So everything in this reality is just a symbolic message to us of our energy, our vibration in framework 2. Let me say that again because this is big. Everything in this reality is just a symbolic message to us of our energy or vibration in framework 2. Everything is a picture. Everything is a symbol. This illusion of reality is all-inclusive. Everything, including every person, is just a picture of our beliefs and feelings. Our beliefs and feelings, because feelings are energy and vibration. Feelings are energy and vibration. And that energy and vibration, which is us, is reflected from framework 2 into framework one, a snapshot at a time. And that is what we call physical reality. Now, physical reality is created by us millions of times a second. In fact, it's created by us a trillion times a second, or 10 billion trillion times a second. It's just Planck's constant, 10 to the 34th. That's how often each instant is that this world is created by us from the 0 point. So every instant, according to quantum mechanics, is completely new, and that's correct. And we just continuously create it. Now, after 24 frames a second, 24 frames, reality is indistinguishable. A movie in a theater at 24 frames a second is indistinguishable from physical reality if you sit there and immerse yourself in that dark room. And that's the way it is with our reality. So, Mother Earth is on an energetic matrix or a grid. Or better to say, Mother Earth is an energetic matrix or a grid. And on that energetic matrix or grid, and you've heard me talk about this many times, each of us is in our own bubble, our own world on the grid. In physical reality, there is no overlap, there is no insertion in our bubble. This is critically important, and I'll go over it in a minute. The energy does not come into our body, and then it does not come into our body, which is what we think. We think it comes in through our senses, and then that's the way we interpret reality. But the actual way that reality works is the energy flows out of our senses. It flows through us, out our senses, and is projected onto the walls of our bubble. Because of this construction, we live in a world of absolute well-being. We live in a safe universe. It's impossible for anything else in the universe to create in our bubble. Literally impossible. Nothing can create in our bubble. And I know you're sitting there screaming, well, what about all that is? Why can't all that is create in our bubble? Well, the fact of the matter is, we are that is, we are. All that is on the leading edge, projected to the leading edge by all that is. So we are all that is here. All that is doesn't have any need to move into our bubble, but if it did, it would be of superlatively good intent. But the bottom line is this: we live in a world of absolute well-being, and this is so important. We live in a safe universe. Nothing in the universe is even capable of creating in our bubble. So, physical reality is created new, completely new every instant. So what is in our world is created by us, completely new, instant by instant. What is not in our sensory world does not exist. So, what's behind me, well, I can see it on the screen, but what's behind me, if I didn't see it, wouldn't exist. People that are not in my reality, they don't exist. What is not in front of me, what is not in my sensory world, does not exist. No person, nothing exists unless it's in my world, in a sensory way. Phone call, I see them, I talk to them, I'm shaking hands with them or touching them. When something isn't in my sensory world, it simply does not exist. So, when I turn my focus to it, instant by instant, that trillion times a second, that's when I create it. Before that moment, before that instant, I don't create it. And that's why whatever I turn my focus to is my creation. So, there's a vibrational pattern for everything in our life. everything in our life has gifted us its energy, its vibrational signature. That energy then flows through us and is projected into the world through our vibrational pattern. Everything in the world is a reflection of our vibrational pattern. So in other words, we use their signature, but that vibration still flows through our vibration and then gets projected onto the walls of our bubble. And that's who we're interacting with. We're actually interacting with a picture of somebody that is, let's go over the characteristics of other people. What do we know? We know they're God. We know they're all that is. We know they're eternal. We know they're infinite. So the part of them that shows up in our life is the part that exactly matches our vibration. So everything in the world is a reflection of our vibrational pattern. Every detail, every nuance is us. Our creation reflected back to us. And it's all showing us our beliefs. Beliefs are feelings. Feelings are vibration or energy. Vibration and energy are the same thing. I use them interchangeably. So every instant in physical reality is an exact reflection of our vibration in framework 2 in the now, in the moment. So all that is by definition all vibration. So all energy is awareized and is actually composed of consciousness units that are all that is. So we are not creating anything. Everything is already created. That's why Abraham talks about the law of allowing. So our feeling tone, our vibration, the feeling tone of our body, the way we feel inside is a combination of our emotion and our focus. And that resonates, that creates a vibration, a feeling tone, a feeling. That feeling or energy is a vibration, and that vibration resonates with what is already created in all that is. And our focus and our emotion, and last, and this is most important, our expectation pulsates that into physical reality. Now, you can have focus and you can have emotion, but if you don't have expectation, you don't have anything with respect to physical reality. Every last thing comes into physical reality through expectation. Expectation is the leavening in every loaf of bread. If you don't have it, you don't have bread. If you don't have it, you don't have a manifestation into physical reality. So all you have to do is look at your beliefs and start asking yourself if you expect it, and then you can even calibrate it. You can say, do I expect it in a week, a month, a year, an hour, a minute? And that tells you, that degree of expectation literally tells you how close you are to manifesting something that you want in physical reality. We do not get anything we do not expect in physical reality. Zero. No expectation, no manifestation, period. Expectation is a reflection of your beliefs, or said another way, your beliefs frame your expectation. So if you think, well, that's not going to happen, or this can't happen, or I don't understand that, and how would that ever happen? Well, you're not getting it. Don't worry about it. It's not coming into your reality. If you don't believe it and you don't expect it, you're not getting it. And you can't expect it unless you believe it. So beliefs are a linchpin that play a critical role in this process. Now, in this reality, even though we're in our own bubble, it sounds like, and of course this is the paradox, and what have I said many times? In a paradox is the power. We are not alone. We are not alone. Every person and everything in our life loves us unconditionally. and has gifted us their energy to use in our creation. And if they're in our world, we are almost certainly in their world, and gifting them the same unconditional love and energetic signature of ours for them to use in their bubble as well. So, listen closely and observe closely your creations. Now, they're historical. What we see in front of us is historical. It's the past. It's just a picture. It has no power. But listen to it closely because it's you. Observe it closely. It's you. They have no power, but they're always talking to you. And by that I mean they're always reflecting where you're at energetically back to you. If you feel good, you're probably not paying any attention. That's fine. But if you feel bad, oh my gosh, it's hitting you right in the face, and you probably are paying a lot of attention to exactly how you're feeling. And that's going to lead you to an understanding of your beliefs. And I've talked about that many times in the past, so I'm not going to go over it here. But there are some very good techniques in that moment of feeling to identify your limiting beliefs. Now, I want you to think of yourself as a university professor. This is the way professors work. Professors are all at different universities. We have a huge number in this country. I was literally staggered by the number. One time I learned what the number was. I can't remember, but it's a huge number. And the way research works is university professors submit papers. And the papers are accepted by journals, and then the papers are published, and the university professors continue to collaborate and extend their field of research, extend their field of focus. And it's exactly the same way with us creating this reality. We may be in our own bubble, but in Framework 2, we've gotten together and decided in a larger context the kinds of things we're going to be working on in this bubble. So each of us is working here safely, and that's important, in absolute well-being in a safe universe. But we're working here exploring what we've agreed to with our other researchers. Now, we're in constant communication with them telepathically. That telepathic communication is nowhere near this physical reality, so unless you're going to really spend some focused time attuning yourself, there's no need to look for it. Either there's some advanced dream techniques that you could use, but you don't need to look for the overlap. The point, if there were a reason, this reality would be constructed different. So there's not. The point is, are you at a joyful place in this reality? Because if you are, then you got it nailed down, and if you're not, then that's where the work is. And it doesn't. And it's if something could be inserted into our reality, then we wouldn't be safe, would we? Somebody could be running our life, and nobody and nothing is running our life. Our life is ours. We are the creator. We create our own reality, and nobody is running our life for us. We are safe. Now, what happens is, of course, as we work with each other in this collaboration we call reality, the vibration is so close between consciousnesses. Let's say there's 1,000 of us or 100 of us, whatever it might be. Critical mass in a university environment is roughly 100 professors. If 100 professors aren't doing research in an area, it can get pretty stagnant. It doesn't move. So we have people in our world that we work with creating circumstances that lead us to waking up and becoming aware of the magnificence of what we are, our purpose. So, instant by instant, we are creating a new reality based on our vibration, resonating with all that is, completely new from the 0 point. And at that 0 point, every particle of the universe is communicating telepathically with every other particle. Now, this is big. We have no history. We act like we have history, but there is no time. The most history you can have is a trillionth of a trillionth of a trillionth of a second. That's no history. So what we're doing is just taking vibrational patterns and dragging them from what we consider to be our past and recreating them in our present. We're projecting them into our future. Now, just a word about that. It's all vibration. Everything is energy. Everything is vibration. We have learned to assign the most intense vibration to our present. And as something becomes less intense, we call it our past. And something that we have a certain kind of intensity for because of our imagination, we call our future. So, this means that as we create our vibration each instant through focus and emotion, we are creating our world based on our expectation. Our vibration is a rocket ship that carries us into a completely new plane of existence, completely new world that has its own unique and completely unique past and present. So when we drag our past and future into it, it's just confusing the issue because that's not actually the way it is. So as we change our beliefs, our feelings, we change our vibration, and that new vibration takes us to a completely new vibrational plane of existence every second, every instant. In short, what I have described as our world guarantees our freedom. It guarantees our freedom by our beliefs and feelings, which are vibration and energy. We are free to take ourselves to whatever place we focus on with emotion and expectation. So let me say that again. By our beliefs and feelings, which are vibration and energy, we are free to take ourselves to whatever place we focus on with emotion and expectation. And I want to go a step further. And this is really quite shocking, or at least it was to me when I ferreted it out with Reba. And it's basically this, that we confuse a lot of physical things with creation. They're all just permission slips. If we believe them, they're permission slip to create. If we don't believe them, then they might be resistance or a block to creation. But the reality is, in framework 2, if you can get to the vibrational feeling place of something you imagine, you've created it. And it actually exists in one of the infinite number of probable realities that already exist. So that feeling creation that you've made and put into existence is actually out there. Now, what brings it into this reality? Focus, emotion, and expectation. So, a shortcut to creating your reality can be expectation. So if you find that you have a lot of blocking beliefs that, this can't happen, or you can try and do what every big business in the country does, which is bombard yourself with your own advertising. I believe I am whatever. And write it on a piece of paper. So, some parts of it. Because worthiness turns out in our reality to be a pretty big piece. People very often don't think they're worthy. And let me warn you, Once you start using this stuff and your life gets good, wow, you're going to be up against it quite a bit. You're going to be going, do I deserve this? And how good can it get? And I wonder if something bad's going to happen now because, oh, I've got all this good in my life. You're going to go through those things. Trust me. This stuff really works. I'm not just saying these words. I mean, it's powerful. And there's only two things. Are you getting it? There's creating it in your mind, and then the second part is expecting it. That's the two things. So you're trying to create a bridge between the two. You're really good if you practice a little bit, even a little, at imagining, and for God's sake, imagine what you want, not what you're afraid of. Turn your focus to what you want. And then take whatever steps are necessary to expect it. And one way is to write it on a 3x5 card, and it would say, I love and appreciate myself, and I expect to be whatever it is that you want to be. I expect to be handsome. I expect to be rich. I expect to be slim, or whatever it might be. And use that as a tool to keep giving yourself messages, because the most powerful voice in your world is your own. The most powerful voice by far in your world is your own. So as you keep saying something to yourself, you're creating a groove. And the better you feel when you're doing this, the more powerful it is. So that's it. That's my little GTS tidbit for today. And I miss you all. I love you all. I can't wait to get back there and say hi in person. I got some real big hugs stored up. And I hope you're having a great day and a great weekend. And this is just a little GTS fix to get you through your week until we get back together. Thanks again.